Hello everyone, in today's video, let us learn how to install a solar power panel 500 watt peak to directly 12 volt DC application.
At the end of this video, you will be able to install a solar power panel 500 watt peak for 12 volt DC application, construct an application circuit for 12 volt DC application. Let us collect the tools, equipment and materials required to do this practical. Digital multimeter with props, trainees toolkit, solar PV panel 12 volt 500 watt peak with fabricated panel support fittings, solar charge controller type PWM, system voltage 12 to 24 volt, maximum output current 50 amps, DC circuit breaker 2 pole 12 volt 6 amps, connecting wires 1.5 square mm and 6 square mm as required. DC fan 12 volt, base brackets 28 inches 6 numbers, contact brackets 28 inches 6 numbers, supporting brackets 14.8 inches, bolt and nuts 8 mm. Installing a solar power panel 500 WP for 12 volt DC application. Lifting the solar panels to the top of the terrace. Safety precautions. Lifting a solar panel to a terrace typically requires at least 2 or 3 strong individuals to do so safely. Treat solar panels delicately and avoid rough handling. They are made of tempered glass which can break if subjected to excessive force or pressure. Ensure that all the people who are lifting the solar panel are wearing PPE including hard hats, safety goggles, gloves and non-conductive footwear. Position the solar panel at the bottom of the steps, align it perpendicular to the staircase. Ensure that it is stable and will not roll or slide during the lifting operation. Safety precautions. Carefully inspect the solar panel for any sharp edges or protruding parts. Choose a location for the solar panel stand that receives ample sunlight throughout the day and is free from shading obstructions. Solar panels generate electricity by converting sunlight into energy. Placing the solar panel stand in an area with sunlight ensures that the panels receive maximum sun exposure is available, allowing them to produce more electricity. Place the solar panel with stand, align it with the mounting holes on the frame. Position the panel so that it receives maximum sunlight exposure. Safety precautions. During installation, direct contact with the terminals can result in electrical shock or burns, particularly if the panels are exposed to sunlight and generating electricity. Gather the necessary nuts, bolts, washers, and any other hardware required for mounting the solar panel. Insert bolts through the mounting holes on the solar panel starting from the underside of the panel. Place washers on the bolts to distribute the pressure evenly. Once the bolts are inserted through the mounting holes, secure them in place by tightening the fastener onto the exposed threads. Repeat the process for each mounting hole on the solar panel, ensuring that all bolts are securely fastened with nuts. Tighten the nuts evenly to prevent uneven pressure on the panel. Adjust tilt angles and set the tilt angle of the solar panel to optimize sunlight exposure based on your location to receive the maximum sunlight. Now let us see how to measure the open circuit voltage of the solar panel. When you are measuring the voltage of a solar panel, you typically connect the multimeter in parallel. This means you connect the positive terminal of the multimeter to the positive terminal of the solar panel and the negative terminal of the multimeter to the negative terminal of the solar panel. Set the multimeter in DC voltage measurement range with an approximate voltage of 20 volts. Identify the positive terminals and negative terminals in the solar panel. Solar panels come with labels indicating the positive and negative terminals. Look for these labels near the terminals or on the back side of the panel. Place the black probe negative of the multimeter on the negative terminal of the solar panel. Place the red probe positive of the multimeter on the positive terminal of the solar panel. Once the probes are connected, the multimeter ensures the display of the voltage output of the solar panel. Constructing an application circuit for 12 volt DC application. Identify the terminals on the solar panels. Look for any labels or markings near the terminals. They may be labeled as battery as BAT, solar panel as PV, load as load. In a charge controller, the positive and negative terminals are typically labeled or indicated to ensure proper connection of the solar panel, battery, and load. Use black colored wires to connect the negative terminal and red colored wires to connect the positive terminal for easy identification. Strip the wire insulation for half an inch using a wire stripper. Squeeze the handles of the wire stripper to apply pressure to the insulation. The cutting edge of the wire stripper will slice through the insulation without damaging the underlying conductor for both red and black wires. Identify the solar terminals in the charge controller. Connect the positive wire from the solar panel to the positive terminal on the charge controller. Similarly, connect the negative wire from the solar panel to the negative terminal on the charge controller. Once the solar panel is connected to the charge controller, it will continuously monitor the output voltage of the solar panel and display it. Identify the terminals on the charge controller designated for connecting DC loads. These terminals are typically labeled load or DC load. Identify the positive and negative terminals on the 12 volt DC fan. Connect the negative terminal of the fan to the negative terminal of the charge controller. Then connect the positive terminal of the fan through DC breaker to the positive terminal of the charge controller for the allotted terminal. Switch on the breaker and ensure the fan is working. Monitor the solar panel voltage and output voltage to the fan in the charge controller display.
Thus, we have installed the solar power panel 500 watt peak for 12 volt DC application and constructed an application circuit for 12 volt DC application. This concludes this exercise. Thank you for watching.